man at Ayub Abdikadir. Wakili Edward Moreo is the lawmaker representing Gatanga Constituency Council. Nelson Havi is also with us this morning in studio. Dr. Makali Mulo is the Member of Parliament, Kitui Central Constituency, and Duncan Mathenge, Nyeri Central, a member of the Health Committee of the National Assembly. Thanks for staying with us, gentlemen. Council Havi, how did you get here? Where did if we are to trace this, the original scene? And do you think the sinners will be brought to book, given what the Auditor General has talked about, the loss of billions of shillings in flagship projects by the administration?
We've gotten here because throughout our history, we've never sat down after a regime change to punish for transgressions of an outgoing regime. That's the main problem. We identified the problems that had bedeviled Kenya during the administration of President Uhuru Kenyatta. And we're all affirmative that as soon as we get into office, we'll take these steps to remedy it, to deter, to ensure that there is no repetition of this. But what do? We end up taking over the nefarious institutions, the cartels, the enterprises that we had condemned, and continue with them as if nothing happened. What can we do now?
Yeah.
You see, details often tend to obscure the truth. We're not interested in details. Monies have been stolen. Public funds have been pilfered. We are least interested in knowing what the committees do. You cannot tell me that
Proceed.
You cannot tell me that it's expected of the DCI to investigate a heist of the magnitude of 900 million per day, 104 billion per month. It won't happen. Nobody will be brought to book. But are we handicapped? No, we're not handicapped. As I said before, the role and the main role of the National Assembly is oversight, to bring to account people. So our colleagues should not tell us that this matter will go to the DCI. The DCI will not do anything. You expect the DCI to come and investigate the President of the Republic of Kenya? You expect the DPP to go and prosecute the President of the Republic of Kenya? It won't happen. It's bullshit. So what we must do is to do the right thing.
Which is impeachment.
Yeah. Everybody responsible for these enterprises must be called to account.
Because Parliament can censure the Cabinet Secretary for Health because of the procedural manner in which the procurement regulations were violated, and the head of state who...
But let me just have...
Yes,
you see,
you had said.
Look at the front page of the Standard. Yeah, the level of layering.
The beneficiary
in corporate law, this layering is indicative of fraud. Fraud of so high a magnitude that is beyond the comprehension of the DCI to undertake. But as I've said, in cases of this kind, details are unnecessary. Execution is the only option. You need to execute your mandate. So our colleagues here in Parliament must take decisive action now. And you see, it's failure on their part that has prompted citizens to go to court helpless. Because whereas the people are domiciled with the ultimate sovereign, they have given it to the elected leaders to exercise in the interim, so that we're not left in an archaic situation where we take the law into our hands. Has it been done before? It's done in Korea every day. The other day they impeached the president. When the deputy president who had been constituted acting president failed to complete the impeachment of the president, they proceeded to impeach the acting president. You understand? So these questions must be asked. Answers must be given. And we are not interested in details.
Okay, and you doubt the capacity of the Directorate of Criminal Investigation, so players within the criminal justice system. How about Parliament? Do you think it can exercise the impeachment power given to it by Katiba?
They exercised this power not so long ago on the Deputy President.
The Deputy President.
On much less offences. Much less offences. What did he pilfer? What did he do? Other than being a clown? No. I mean, we need to be honest.
Okay.
And fundamentally, in fact, I was grappling. It took me 15 minutes to remember who was the minister for the time being in charge of public health. Because these are poodle puppies put in place to hide nefarious enterprises by the hyenas. This is a commercial enterprise. It's not social health. You understand? We need to be told what's happening. You see, the other day, And this has been the day-to-day activity of our former friends in Kenya Kwanza, and UDA in particular. Every Saturday, every Sunday, they're doing a fundraiser in a church to raise money. Look, when we struggled for independence, we ended independence from three things: illiteracy, poverty and disease. We didn't want illiteracy from sin. No, sin must always be here. It will never depart from us. So we want you to raise funds to go and build schools, to raise funds to go and build hospitals. So when you tell us you have 5 million, 20 million for the building of churches, Ayub, I've never seen them come to your mosque and say, we'll raise 5 million for the building of this mosque. I mean, the gullibility of Christendom must come to an end because it's never experienced in Islam.
Okay. Honorable Muri, yes. This is certainly a defining moment, but how do you take advantage of the momentum that is continuously slipping away from the members of the National Assembly and the House where you sit?
I would say that it is not, the moment is not slipping away. But let me say, we are not doing the process, but we are properly mandated, both in law and fact, to be able to deal with these issues. But it's also important and honest to mention where the weaknesses are. Now, for example, my colleague there who sits in the Health Committee, they summoned the CS, PS, Health, and the SHA team, and they went to Mombasa. And we expected them to come back having gotten proper answers on this issue of SHA. Sadly, and this is on record, they give it a clean bill of health. Now, they did not ask questions on how the SHA was procured, the value proposition of an account on a computer system where you pay 104 billion. You know, Abdikadio, I think you become numb to numbers in this country. 104 billion is so much money for a system. Over and above that, they never came back to present to Parliament on why you would buy a system at such astronomical figure at 104 billion and then continue paying 5%, 2.5% at every stage of treatment. Clearly, it's like you buy a house at 104 billion, but continue paying rent, and yet you don't have the keys to that house. It does not make sense. So I would say there are weaknesses in terms of the committee, because even the people have been given a responsibility to unearth some of these things before they get to this level, they are failing this country. It's good to put the problem where it is. Of course, the head of all this corrupt syndicate is well known.
Who is it?
It's well known. There's nothing which happened in this country without the finger of the executive.
That's a vague statement.
Yes,
who?
And I want to remain as vague as much as I could.
Yeah, who is the person?
All right. We are not here to drop names, Abdikadir.
And why do you make that?
But I'm trying to point out the issue is.
You could substantiate.
Remember, the issue about SHA is a Kenya Kwanza driven agenda.
So who are you driving at?
Is a Kenya Kwanza driven agenda.
Who is the head of Kenya Kwanza?
Now, being a Kenya Kwanza driven agenda, you know who is the head of Kenya Kwanza agenda. Who
in your view? Have you forgotten?
You as much as you do know. Abdikadir.
Who is heading the Kenya Kwanza administration?
You are selective amnesia. Why do you want him to blow the wind?
And sometimes issues need to be given the way they are.
Okay.
For people to digest. Our role is just to blow the whistle, and we have done it. And I've said clearly, this is total thievery of Kenyan funds.
Okay.
There was the system of 104 billion was not necessary. The intention to give the Kenyan people an affordable health was not the agenda.
Okay.
What the agenda was to make money. And that's why you find that, Abdikadir, the complaint on the ground, even in Gatanga constituency, is not there's no medicine, it's not that there's no doctor. They are saying the system is not working. Which system? The system which was procured at 104 billion. The agenda was purely to make money and continue making money.
Thank you.
And finally, yes. And this is very important, we can make noise here day and night. And even call the CS to the parliament, or even wherever we want to call him, and the PS, and even the CEO of Shah and Chief.
Yeah.
But they have no control of that system.
Thank you. Honorable Makali Mulu, yes. Looking at the 15 services I listed, what Safaricom had presented and then entered the consortium that Council Nelson Havi has pointed out, there was an incremental figure in every service that was provided for all the 15, therefore lifting the number from 48 to 104 billion Kenya shillings. And the highest in that view is the one that would cost more than 5 billion, which is a software-defined area in terms of network, and also health cloud data centers. How can this be resolved? Because, again, one of the contract clauses states that no government agency or entity can also get in an engagement to access the system to reproduce or produce a software of similar functionalities, according to the Auditor General. Isn't this a complete takeover of our healthcare system by shadowy parties and characters who we don't know?
You know, I think Havi did put this matter very well. And to me, I think he summarized the whole issue we are discussing. This was not a social health initiative. It was a commercial initiative. I think that statement says all about Shah. Now, that being the case, let's look at what the law says. The law says when the Auditor General does a report, she tables that report in Parliament. So, after tabling the report in Parliament, she has actually accomplished a constitutional mandate. Now, the question is, what does Parliament do with that report? Parliament now through PIC, and I can tell you for sure, when the report is tabled by Auditor General, Committee of Health has no business with that report. It's purely PAC and PIC. So the issues my colleague here is discussing